Coming up, what does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? Some of Canada's top business minds, most successful entrepreneurs think they know. They put their names and they put their money behind Canada's first entrepreneur school at the University of Toronto. They hope to transform our competitive culture in this country. We'll find out more from the key players after a short break. All right, here's On the Money. The next 36, this is what it's called, and it's an entrepreneur program for a number of undergrads who will get access to this unique program. Backers were able to raise $4 million in just 9 months to get it off the ground. $30,000 will be invested in each student during their time with the program. So is the next 36 filling a gap in Canada's post-secondary education? Joining me now are Reza Sachu, co-founder of the Next 36, and David Naylor, the president of the University of Toronto. A power couple, if there ever was one. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Thank you, Ed.
Reza Sachu, let me start with you. You founded this program as a way to develop the next generation of Canadian entrepreneurs. Fundamentally, Canada has a global competitiveness crisis. Why do you think you need to address these key problems?
Look, that's exactly right, Evan. What we are trying to address is Canada's global competitive position. What we're doing is we're trying to identify the next generation of leaders in Canada who fundamentally are going to take Canada into the next century, the next decade, and really compete on a global basis. It doesn't take many companies to make a big difference for a country like Canada. And so what we're really trying to do is identify those all-star undergraduate students, provide them with the resources and the mentorship to really accelerate what's possible for them.
You know, David Naylor, it's a fascinating mix here because Reza Sachu is one of Canada's great entrepreneurs, and then you lured him in to teach a course at the University of Toronto. But who else, what other business leaders have you lured in here to be part of this program in a very intimate and unique way?
Evan, first off, Reza was a volunteer teacher of entrepreneurship at U of T, and his course became the most popular course on our St. George campus. So he had proved his mettle, and when he came with the idea of spreading this to be more of a national program, it was irresistible. Reza can tell you more about the business leaders, but you name it, it's from the next generation like Tony Lacavera, mid-career people like Francis Shen, icons like Gale and Weston. I've been amazed by the support of the Canadian business community coast to coast for this program, in part because Reza and his co-workers have had a national vision here for the Next 36, and it's been really gratifying. People are getting behind it in a huge way.
I guess the question here is, you know, in power and politics we often talk about creating leadership, both politically and in various ways across the country, people who will emerge and change the country. Reza, tell me how you teach entrepreneurship and what effect that might have on our country.
Right. Well, let me tell you the genesis of the course, Evan. I went to McGill. I went to a Canadian undergraduate like many of your viewers. I remember going down to Wall Street and thinking that all the kids from Harvard, Yale, and Stanford must be so much smarter, must know so much more. And what you quickly learn is that they're not smarter, they're not better educated, but they do have two incredibly powerful advantages. And those advantages are, from a young age, throughout their undergraduate career, they have massive exposure to leaders. Not just academic leaders, but entrepreneurial leaders, political leaders, leaders across the spectrum. And that exposure gives them an expanded set of expectations. And so their goalposts are very different than the undergrads that come out of our institutions. These undergrads come out well educated, but with goalposts that are too close to the goal line. And so when you interact with these students that come out of Harvard and Yale, they don't want to write the next book, they want to be a Pulitzer Prize winner. They don't want to be a VP in a software company, they want to launch the next Google. And so what we're really trying to do is identify those students, expand their expectations, and give them the resources so that we can accelerate their careers and provide them with that transformational event through the tight connection with other entrepreneurs where they can get to that point. And if we can accomplish that, if over the next 10 to 20 years we can accomplish, these students can blossom into entrepreneurial leaders that create real businesses, employing people, and creating real products and real value for the Canadian economy, I think that will be very good for our country.
You know, Reza, I mean, your personal story is fascinating. You're Canadian, you and your younger brother, you both go down to New York, you start a company that ends up being sold, as I understand it, for more than $1 billion. I mean, who is part of the idea, the notion that do you ever dare to think you can dream about doing something that big?
Right. I mean, I think that's exactly right, Evan. When we emigrated here from Kenya, we emigrated here without a lot. What we emigrated with was a very tight family and with a set of parents that worked hard and thought anything was possible. And for me, that was the critical advantage I had. It wasn't any material resources, it wasn't a set of connections, it was the fact that people at a very early age believed in me and my brother and thought that anything was possible. And really, what I found when I went down to the States was that there were resources and people who were willing to take a chance on people like me, young, aggressive, people who were hardworking and who wanted to think and dream big. And so what we're trying to do with this program is really partner with entrepreneurs who've been fortunate enough to have success, bring together a robust academic program to it, and really provide these students with that same opportunity. Because, frankly, the difference between success and failure in many ways is marginal. And so the decisions that you make, and I strongly believe this, the decisions you make early in your career are hugely important to what you accomplish. And so what we're trying to do is influence these students at a critical time in their development.
Right. Obviously, it's too late for me, is what you're trying to say, and I appreciate
much
that.
Too late.
Much too late for me. I want to ask David Naylor, because what's fascinating about this is the connection now to a university. Because as I look at the names, you know, as you talked about, Galen Weston, the chairman and CEO of George Weston, the chairman of Asante Corporation, the CEO of Edgestone Capital, Sam Dubach. I mean, there's some extraordinary names. How will these people interact with the young students that Reza talks about? How did the university work to create this relationship?
A lot of this, I think, is a function, Evan, of the network that Reza, Tim Hodgson, and other leaders of the program brought to the table. And our role really has been through connections to the Rotman School, through our engineering faculty, to broaden the network slightly. But in many ways, this is about the business leaders themselves deciding that they want to take a role in nurturing the next 36 and many more, and trying to give back in a big way to help Canada reach the next level. So many of these business leaders simply felt they wanted to be part of this venture because of its potential national scope and its impact. And they'll be engaged in the classroom as mentors and as volunteer teachers. Reza's got a record of doing that in his course at U of T. And I have to say, his ability to pull in volunteers as well as financial supporters has been staggering to many of us who live in the quiet gray world of academia. We could learn something about entrepreneurship from watching these guys operate. All
right, last question, Reza Satchu, to you. Here, Canadians are looking at their current crop of leaders, and you think back to what used to be called the Canadian establishment. Now look ahead in 20 years. Are the kids that you're working with, are they going to be the new establishment? Is there any name that you can say, hey, keep your eye on this person, you'll be talking to him in 10 years or her in 10 years?
You know, here's what I would say, Evan. If you looked at the composition of the people that are in my class, it's a very competitive class to get into. It does not look like the Canadian establishment. It looks like it's an incredibly diverse group of people from all over the world, some of whom born in Canada, others not, but all of whom who are hardworking, as educated as anyone else across frankly, across the world, but who need an opportunity. And really what we're trying to do is provide them with that opportunity.
It sounds almost un-Canadian, you know, this notion of the quiet, old family. This sounds like you're almost trying to say to Canadians, we need to get an entrepreneurial, aggressive spirit as part of the seeds of our culture. It's almost a cultural transformation as much as a business program.
You know, what I found in my class is we're throwing down the gauntlet here. What we're doing is we're setting an incredibly high set of expectations for people. We are expecting them to achieve great things. And what we're going to do is we're going to provide them with a vehicle in which to go and do that. And at an early age, we're going to give them the resources and the exposure to hopefully do that. And, it is a center of excellence. And what I hope and what I expect is in 20 years' time, when there have been thousands of kids that have gone through this program, we can lean back in our rocking chair and look around Canada and say that the future leadership of this country, the leadership of this country at that time, would say that the event that transformed their lives, the program that transformed their lives, was this program. And I think the country as a whole will benefit, not just those people who went through the program, but also the country and the people that live in it.
You gotta love that.
Sounds like you're starting the academic version of the Dragon's Den, and I know your buddy buddy, Kevin O'Leary. Would appreciate that. I know you've got a big event tonight to launch this program. As always with Reza Satchu and David Naylor, very ambitious, a high bar of success. We'll be watching it very closely. I wish you both the best of luck. Reza Satchu, David Naylor, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Evan.